interested in swinging a deal for Chicago Bulls guard Zach LaVine. The former UCLA star is not happy in Chicago. The Bulls are off to a 4-8 start. We'll keep you updated on this development. Golden State's Draymond Green was suspended for the 5th time in his career. This time, the NBA sat him down for 5 games for putting Minnesota center Rudy Gobert in a chokehold Tuesday night. The suspension will cost Green $1.36 million. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, Black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any Black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from Unapologetically Progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
He's $1 million.
Alright. Feel like it too, man. Yup. Yeah. Let's go. Yo, get it while you young. Broad day, dipping in the sun. Came a long way, look at where we from. It's only just begun. The path saying we already won. There's still time, go get it while you young. While you young, broad day, dipping in the sun. Came a long way, look at where we from. Shit, we only just begun. Yeah, we already won. Yo. Know these streets so well, I slide through them with my eyes closed. Even in my worst dreams, I can find home. Ain't shit crazy, that's just how it goes. Switch it up, can't be lazy. Moms pick up a baby, playing slide stone. Them everyday people digging, trying to mine gold. But gold diggers pay admission, now the line's closed. The bad bitches pay attention when the smile's low. This next mission might switch a nigga time zone up. So what? No risk, no prize, no luck. Roll the dice, I'm a product of where I've grown up. You gotta keep it low key for they size y'all up. Cause the last thing we needed in was eyes on us. It's full circle enterprise and my guys I trust. Better try playing B for y'all try y'all luck. Triple degree heat. Them summers hit different, but can't speak. On them walls saying get it while you young. Broad day dipping in the sun. Came a long way. Look at
KBLA Talk 1580. That's Miles Low music. That's the new. Get it while you're young. You can get it wherever you get your music. You can also find him on Instagram, Miles Low Music. You can find me, DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. And, of course, KBLA 1580. We're on all of the platforms, including YouTube, where we're broadcasting right now. Call me, 800-920-1580. You got something to say? You want to fight? You want a fellowship? All are welcome. So it looks like the government is going to stay open for the immediate near future. The Senate has passed a bill to stop that shutdown. It's going to Biden's desk. The deadline was the weekend, so it looks like we'll at least make it through the holidays. Stage 1 is January. Stage 2 is February. The new House Speaker, Mike Johnson, you would think he would be able to celebrate even getting anything done in the obstructionist Congress that we have today. But more than likely, he'll be a sacrificial lamb, and we'll take up the fight for a new speaker early in the new year. It took that thing I don't believe in called bipartisanship. Democrats, this would not have been possible without the Democrats deciding to support this. And honestly, think it makes sense. No ridiculous draconian spending cuts. And although there's no funding for all of the wars we like to underwrite, it is just a clean spending bill. It's a little tricky, but it looks like it is done. President Biden met with the Chinese President Xi Jinping on Wednesday, and he said, they said, it went pretty well. But then he comes and says, well, he's a dictator. He's a guy who runs a country in a communist country that's based on a form of government that's totally different than ours. I don't know if, China still qualifies as a communist country. That is what they call themselves. It's just puzzling to me from the standpoint of diplomacy why you meet with somebody to improve relations and then tell the press 10 minutes later that he's a dictator. But hopefully this does signal some kind of a thawing of relations in the Cold War that is going on between the U.S. and China. Hamas, according to the Washington Post, has agreed in principle to release 50 women and children from the hostages that they're holding. If Israel approves that proposal, Israel's now looking at it, the Israeli government, and are considering whether or not to go along with it. Israel, it would be agreeing to a 3 to 5 day pause, a pause in place in fighting. We call it a pause because I guess ceasefire is now controversial. I think that's BS. Ceasefire, peace, that should be the goal. That should not be controversial. We need to stop killing babies and civilians who aren't babies. But we shall see. Everyone's waiting on the Israeli Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu. Many experts say Netanyahu is far worse than the 45th president. Not sure about that, but we shall see if we can at least, I'm not sure how, 3 to 5 days, I guess it allows you to get babies out of hospitals who are in incubators if they haven't already perished. May allow you to get some fuel in and stuff. But I'm puzzled by the whole idea of humanitarian pauses because you're giving me food, water, and electricity, and then you're going to kill me the next day. Hard to fathom how that is super helpful. Representatives for Will Smith pushing back hard, saying the accusations that he slept with his friend, actor Dwayne Martin, that never happened. And to me, the whole thing is troubling because some guy goes on Tasha K's show. I know Brother Bilal, you could say he's not some guy. We know he did work for Will Smith, but you come out with no receipts. You talk about something that may have happened, 30 years ago, and now everyone runs with it as news. Where's the receipts? That means I can go, or you can go, or anybody can go on YouTube and I can say, well, Steve Harvey was this, or Tavis Smiley is that, or, Stevie Wonder is that. Simply because I worked with them, I can just make up stories, and you as a responsible news agency are just going to run with it. And, I said that to some of my friends. They're like, well, but the rumors have been around. So what? I mean, there's rumors about everything that have been around. That's not journalism. If all we did was report on rumors. And then there's the other piece of it. Even if it was true, what are the ethics of outing someone? It's very problematic to me. I feel like these news agencies have, allowed this to jump from TMZ or from YouTube, I should say, to sort of the mainstream media. And I think it's really a slippery slope because anybody can say anything about you on any given day. And we see, the Tasha K, well, maybe she's about to lose in court again. We'll see. Jada says they're suing. I don't know how you'd have receipts. And then to go as far as saying that how the size of this person's body parts, that's the one you should be slapping. I'm not advocating violence. I'm a peacenik. But I'm just saying, keep my name out your mouth. Keep my out your mouth. But you know what I'm saying. Let me go to the phones before I get myself in more trouble. We are going to go to Big Phil calling from L.A. Good morning, Big Phil.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. The creek didn't rise, creek didn't rise, the devil don't sleep, okay? You got to understand, misery love company, Dominique, okay? Misery love company.
Right.
And let me say one thing. On both sides, Israel, Gaza, both sides are murder, okay? When you're murdering people for power and trip, then you're going to support Israel to bomb Gaza. God made this land for everybody to live in, okay? Both sides are murder, and you got to answer God. That's all I'm going to tell you with that, okay? And this vaccine stuff, I took my 2 Pfizer, I took my boosters. I'm not taking no more. It's just update stuff. I think it's an experimental thing. So I did that. I take my herbs, and I'm healthy. All my tests come up good. I just keep praying and keep waking up. You know, people in the world want their power trip, but that Israel thing, they're going to answer God, both sides. Both sides murder, period. But I love you, Dominique. I love the station. And hopefully November 11th, Tavis is going to be on the Market Street or something, November 11th, 12th. Is it this week, next week? They heard about that.
Yeah, the 11th of I don't know I don't have details on that for you, Big Phil. You're gonna have to ask Tavis, or maybe I'll ask him. Maybe I'll ask.
Yeah, but don't worry if I'm around. I'm not busy. Come on, I would support you.
You talking about the Sweet Spot Live with Angelique? Okay, yeah. That is on Market Street in Inglewood. At was it the Majestic? Is that what it's called? The Majestic? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
It's on our website, KBLA1580.com, which is a place we'd love for you to be regularly visiting anyway. Yes, Angelique's doing storytelling. It's the Miracle. I always call it the Majestic, but it's really called the Miracle. Thank you. Thank you, Miles.
Yeah.
6 p.m. on Sunday.
Like I say, Dominic, you know, go to pray up. Like I say, the devil don't sleep. It's all about power. People say lying. The devil don't sleep. Just pray up and wake up. You got to stay safe down there, okay? I love you. I love the station. I'm out, Big Phil. Love you.
And we love you more. Miracle Theater is nice. I've been there. Actually, I saw Grady there. He'll be in next hour. It's a great spot in Inglewood. And Angelique, yes, come out in droves. Let's support Miss Angelique of the Sweet Spot, our weekend show, doing her storytelling thing, the Sweet Spot Live. So glad you mentioned that. It's a lot going on. Really, really, really. The Zoom for my Africa trip is our Africa trip. Look at me giving myself all the credit. It's really KBLA Talk 1580 and African Focus Incorporated. But it's mine because I'm going. Anyway, if you want to find out about it, we're having a Zoom on Saturday, and you can get the info at africanfocus.org. Going to Tanzania, and we're going to Kenya. Never been to Kenya. Got this little outfit that I'm wearing on the YouTubes. It's actually, I got it at Katula on Slauson, but it's South African fabric, and I was trying to channel South Africa because that's where we went last year. Fahima from Washington, D.C., Jumbo.
Habata Ghani and K. Pasta Dominique, how are you today, my sister?
I'm blessed, and how are you?
You know how I am, just like Tavis Smiley. I'd be an ingrate if I complained. I just want to make 2 points. And the whole thing with so-called Brother Bilal, I'm not even going to dignify that with even giving it any air. I mean, this guy, well, I'm giving it air, so let me just move on. I wanted to talk about something I shared with you just very briefly. Right now, in Ghana, there is a conference facilitated by the president of Ghana and this Organization of African Unity, and they brought, scholars and people legitimately involved in reparations together. And hopefully you'll have Cam Howard on because he is in attendance to talk about that at some point. And another thing, I had forgotten about this because when I was at the UN Conference Against Racism, the term that the UN came up with was Afro-descendant, which is a description for all African people on the continent and throughout the diaspora. And that really should be part of the discussion, at least in this discourse around reparations. But then there are those that want to separate themselves and come up with these fictitious imaginary identities of being foundational Black Americans and being initially Native American, which is absolutely absurd. Although, Black people and indigenous Native people did build Maroon communities. They build Garifuna communities in South America. That's why many of us do have Native blood. And we know about some.
Okay. I know you got more stuff to say, but you just said a whole bunch of stuff. Some of it I need to address. The idea of Afro-descendant, you said, goes throughout the diaspora. And I think a lot of this is coming up. I'm getting so many DMs. I'm getting emails. People want to be on Freedman Friday. And it is meant to be a reprehensive reparations conversation. So everyone is invited in. We will get to you eventually. We want to hear everyone's point of view. It's 7 a.m. every Friday now. But that covers the diaspora. But I think this idea, what you're calling, made up identities, and FBA, what is that? What is ADOS? What is Freedman? What is Afro-descendant? They're all made up. They're what we decide to call ourselves. But Afro-descendant, you're talking about the diaspora, and there are folks who feel like we need to distinguish American and descendants of enslaved Americans, whether it be, what was it, Dobas, what Molly Bell says, or ADOS, or, whatever that is, Negro, because they do not feel like American government or American corporations should be paying people in Africa or the Caribbean, that if you're Jamaican and you were colonized by the English, then England owes you that debt.
Dominique, well, two things. One, you made a Freudian slip. You said reprehensible. I know you meant comprehensive, but you said reprehensible.
Well, maybe both. Maybe both. Nothing wrong with getting a little reprehensible. We need to get into the weeds on this, and we need to see where our points of unity are. I just don't see, I don't see why it is so terrible for people to say Black Americans are a distinct group. I mean, we are.
Well,
we have a unique experience in the world. We do.
Let me just say this. Malcolm X said, a cat can have chips in the oven, but that does not make them biscuits. And yes, there is a unique culture that was developed after Africans were kidnapped and brought here to America. I'm not disputing that. We developed the blues and the Negro spirituals all as part of that.
And the worldwide civil rights movement.
Oh, yes. That was part of the struggle for freedom and liberation.
Right.
But I'm just saying that an Afro-descendant is something that came out of the UN that is internationally recognized, and in Ghana, this conference is not looking at Africans trying to get reparations from the American government. It's holding the guilty parties accountable. And again, please have Pam Howard come on.
Yeah. Hold that thought, Fahima, if you can, because I want to continue down this train of thought. I think the idea that it's problematic for us to be Afro-descendants is also puzzling to me. Like, why can't you be a Negro, a Freedman, an ADOS, an FBA, and also be an Afro-descendant? Why can't both of those be true? It's KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, Black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from Unapologetically Progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
You are now in Big Tobacco's fantasy land. Welcome. It's a healthier world where they want you to believe that vaping makes quitting cigarettes a breeze. Never mind the evidence that vaping leads to using both. And if you're younger, even better, teens who vape are 3 times likelier to use cigarettes. In Big Tobacco's Fantasyland, the deadliest industry is your friend.
Big Tobacco's idea of smoke-free is a dangerous fantasy for us all. See reality at undo.org.
She's so smooth, I'm interrupting my own shower to remind you to treat your skin like the queen she is with Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, packed with Olay's highest level of vitamin B3 complex. It's so moisturizing that it will give you visibly smoother, head-turning skin in just 14 days. People wondering, how'd she get so smooth? Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash. Also, try Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion.
To some, this might sound like a typical family dog. But at Dog Chow, we know that for a veteran suffering from PTSD, this could be the sound of life-saving therapy.
Thanks, Betty.
That's why we've made it our mission to connect every military hero in need with a canine hero of their own. To learn about the simple ways you can help Dog Chow in our mission, visit dogchow.com/veterans.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
It doesn't. Fahima called from Washington, D.C., kind of heating us up ahead of our Freedman Fridays, which is now every Friday on KBLA Talk 1580 at 7, or second hour of the show. Tomorrow we'll have actor Isaiah Washington, who's become very, very, very active on this front, and how we can talk about, where he is on the movement and how so many, we're starting to see so many black celebrities either running from this conversation or running to it. Same with lawmakers, elected officials. I think it's kind of become almost a new third rail. Like, people want to talk about it until it's time to do something about it. That said, Fahima, you were lifting up the term Afro-descendant as something accepted by the UN, and why can't we be Afro-descendant and Black American, or Afro-descendant and FBA, ADOS, DDoS, not DDoS, DOBA, you know what I'm saying? All these things. Why are they mutually exclusive?
Well, Dominique, as a Pan-Africanist, I believe in self-determination, and people have a right to define themselves however they so please. I don't have a problem with people calling themselves whatever. That being said, and I'm just going to make these 2 points as I land. ADOS was the brainchild of Steve Bannon to ensure that Black people during the 2016 election voted for Donald Trump or didn't vote for all. And the FBA was founded to monetize a situation. Now, that doesn't speak to the people who are following, but the people that founded these organizations, they have no intention to seek reparations. And I'm going to land on that. The people that are following these folks, they may be well-meaning, but they're being deceived. Kind of like Jim Jones followers.
Whoa, that's quite a comparison, Fahima. Clearly there are charlatans, scammers, and opportunists inside the movement, as there are in almost every movement. I think that maybe reparations at this particular moment in time is attracting some of those heat seekers. But to compare to Jim Jones, that's a lot. Why do you say that?
Well, as I mentioned, if the root is rotten, it's rotten at the core. ADOS was started to get Black people to vote for Donald Trump by Steve Bannon. It was the brainchild of Steve Bannon. Now, the people who are following, they're just naive, and they've gravitated onto this pipe dream, following these people. We should have one accord. But those of us that have seriously been working for reparations should continue to do so and just let the chips fall where they may.
Well, thank you for that. I think you teed up our conversation tomorrow in a big way. I know that there's going to be a lot of pushback to what you've said. And this is what, this is what we need to air out. I believe that the division within the movement for reparations is partly, part of it may be fueled by people whose job is to do just that, as you've said, but part of it may be the fact that we don't really hear each other out. And I feel like there may be a dismissiveness with younger generations saying the elders have been working on this forever and they haven't gotten anywhere. Why should we listen to them? And there may be a dismissiveness on the part of some of the longtime leaders in the movement for reparations who say, yeah, all of these folks are right-wing tools, or all of these folks are naive or uninformed. And I feel like more listening is needed. At least that's what I'm planning to do. I'm planning to listen to a lot of folks, hear what people have to say. What are they actually doing? What are the things that move the needle, that make progress? And what I love is that we've gotten so many people reaching out on KBLA 1580 on Instagram and Facebook, and even DMing me on DiPrima Radio saying they want to be on Freedman Friday, or suggesting other people, organizations, coalitions that should be included. So to me, that means it is a comprehensive, hopefully not too reprehensible, but a very comprehensive conversation about the movement for restitution, redress, repair in the United States. Yes, globally too. But what we're dealing with right now, I'm broadcasting to you from Leimert Park, Africatown, USA, a.k.a. California West Coast, where we have a task force that's just delivered a report, and now we are right up against a new year where we need to push for those recommendations to be put through, to go into legislation, to go into action, where we need people to understand what's going on so they can stop being obstructionists, or even better, step up and join a faction, join an organization, do something to move the ball. And where I think a pressure point in and around this 2024 election, where we might be able to get some action on HR 40 or something similar. News, traffic, and sports, and then call me, 800-920-1580. We are unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Gaza City officials say hospitals are effectively inoperable as the war between Israel and Hamas escalates. At the largest hospital in Gaza, some 3,500 staff, patients, and civilians are stuck inside, surrounded by tanks and troops. President Biden said Monday that hospitals must be protected, and the director of the World Health Organization said the situation is dire. In Illinois, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is celebrating the passage of his first budget. The City Council approved the African-American mayor's more than $16 billion 2024 spending plan yesterday with a 41-8 vote. The budget invests $150 million for asylum seekers. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Don't let a traffic accident ruin your day. Visit fixautousa.com to find the nearest Fix Auto location. Their highly trained and certified technicians will have you back on the road in no time. You have a choice on who fixes your vehicle. Tell your insurance agent that you want to go to Fix Auto.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A dismal night for the Lakers at Crypto.com. They lose at home by 15 to the Sacramento Kings. The Lakers committed 23 turnovers. 11 of those turnovers belong to LeBron and Anthony Davis. Get ready to hear some talk in the streets about the Lakers making a trade. The The Lakers reportedly are one of 4 teams interested in swinging a deal for Chicago Bulls guard Zach LaVine. The former UCLA star is not happy in Chicago. The Bulls are off to a 4-8 start. We'll keep you updated on this development. Golden State's Draymond Green was suspended for the 5th time in his career. This time, the NBA sat him down for 5 games for putting Minnesota center Rudy Gobert in a chokehold Tuesday night. The suspension will cost Green $1.36 million. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Beloved Entertainment presents Sweet Spot Live with Angelique Francis, host of KBLA's Living in the Sweet Spot at the beautiful Miracle Theater, 226 South Market Street in Inglewood, Sunday, November 19th at 6 p.m. Join me, Tavis Smiley, and KBLA Talk 1580 for real short stories told live on stage by our own storytellers, straight from the neighborhood, celebrating our unique culture, our strengths, our courage, our faith, and, of course, our fire. Come walk with us through the neighborhoods, sit at our kitchen tables, even run with us down our dark alleys if you dare. But just know that in the sweet spot, there is love and laughter, joy and pain, secrets never told. Again, that's Sweet Spot Live with Angelique Francis, Sunday, November 19th at the Miracle Theater, 226 South Market Street in Inglewood at 6 p.m. Tickets available at sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com. That's sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com. Sweet Spot Live, we've got a lot to talk about.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the exclusive media sponsor of this light of ours, activist photographers of the Civil Rights Movement. A dynamic new exhibition on view now at the Skirball Cultural Center in Los Angeles. This light of ours showcases more than 150 photos taken by movement insiders from diverse backgrounds that reveal the vital work undertaken by a broad coalition of organizers and everyday people whose collective action changed America. This light of ours is one of 3 temporary exhibitions currently on view at the Skirball, which together explore issues related to civil rights, immigration, and pluralism. Tickets and more information for all 3 exhibitions are available at skirball.org. That's skirball.org. SKIRBALL.org.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
That's us, and I invite you, as usual, to call 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Fahima's setting it off, and see, you know, I posted something on Twitter a couple of years ago, because I don't believe that we should turn reparations into the new welfare, where you get hassled and let me see your ID and your passcode and, all of that. And I felt like it was more important I do still feel like it's more important to include everybody who is deserving of reparations, whether they're unhoused or, whatever their status might be, than it is to be worried that some Caribbean or African person might get reparations mistakenly. I don't see that as being a priority. The argument that folks are making is that in order to have a legal standing. And that's what, that's what the argument was with the reparations, the California Reparations Task Force, that in order to have a legal standing, it needed to be limited in some way to a class of people. Now you're talking about reparations in the United States, and we're still talking about it on so many levels. We're talking about cities, which are already doing it, right? Either studying it, like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and now New York and others. People who are already giving out money, like Evanston. You have the state of California, more will follow. Or whether we're talking about countries, and there are conversations, as many people have pointed out, going on throughout the Caribbean. And I believe, again, momentum will grow. Those are all legit within their own circumstance, in their own circle, their own movements, in which, of course, they're all connected. But I think that the more I listen, and I got swarmed by the Tea Hive. Pretty sure that's not what Tariq Nasheed called his people, the FBAs, because I don't agree with every single thing. And they said, oh, she's a Pan-Africanist. Well, yeah, so what? I mean, why does that have to be at odds? I believe, and, on Freedman Fridays, it's not all about what I believe. It's about hearing what's happening, what other people are doing, what the movement is making happen. But I believe that if I have a birthright as a black woman, a black American woman, and it's not a question of my own heritage, I have receipts, right? My people, the black half of my family, because my mom, as most of you know, is a combination of Sicilian and Northern Italian. But on my dad's side, we got receipts, going all the way back to the enslavement of my ancestors. There's a clear through line. But I think about the guy in a tent, the woman, in a situation, a desperate situation. I think about families who fled enslavement and changed their names 2 and 3 times, were in hiding, were in maroon communities, were hiding in plain sight and may not have been on anybody's census. I think about the Burgess family who came on this show talking about, as part of the efforts of the group called Where Is My Land, who helped get back Bruce's Beach for the Bruce family, even though the family sold it, but they got that money. That was, yes, it's not reparation, strictly speaking. It's restitution because it's something they already owned. But their being deprived of their generational wealth was part of Jim Crow, part of the legacy of our enslavement in this country. So, I think about the Burgess family who came on this show. They're still trying to get their land back with the help of the organization called Where's My Land. And part of the problem is that when their forefathers escaped and foremothers escaped enslavement, they did change their name. They changed their name to avoid being captured and enslaved, and then went on to have a successful business and be able to purchase this land. And so then it comes into questions of title because of changing names. I mean, there's so many different circumstances that enslaved Americans, descendants of, you want to call them Afro-descendant Americans, encountered. People fled to Mexico and came back. People went to, and that's, part of my beef with the narrative of a lot of these movies and TV series covering our enslavement in this country is that they don't focus on the resistance. The resistance is so deep, so wide, so broad, and so varied that there's going to be pockets of black folks who left and came back, who hid out, who changed names, who reinvented themselves, who, built up communities and then had them burned to the ground. And then what happens then? If you're in the Black Wall Street or many of the dozens and dozens of thriving black enclaves that were burnt to the ground, stolen, terrorized. And so that was always my concern when it comes to this idea of reparation and how we what we require as far as lineage verification. Is it, the new welfare? That said, I do not think it serves us to close our minds to conversation about what it looks like, what it could be, how to get from point A to point B in terms of reparations in this country. And we'll talk about that. Looking forward to the conversation. We are doing it every Friday, and we will have all factions, whoever's willing to show up. And it looks like a lot of people are coming to the table because, as I said, folks are reaching out by hook or by crook, by DM, by text, by email, and you can do the same. I'm always reachable at KBLA 1580 or on my own socials, DiPrima Radio. And by the way, I urge you, if you're trying to DM me, please go to Instagram. I never look at, there's like 3, I'm exaggerating, but there's about probably thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of DMs or whatever you call those things on Facebook. And I'm not going to lie, I don't really look at them. So if you're trying to reach me, go to Instagram and DM me there, or reach out on email. Hit me on Twitter. I'm always on there. Those are the places to find me. And, of course, KBLA 1580 as well. And let's get everybody in the virtual room on YouTube, the virtual room on old-fashioned radio microphones. And let's take what we learn on Freedman Fridays and all the surrounding discussions like the one we're having right now and talk about it with our friends and frenemies, right? Other black folks and people who aren't black. Because to me, so much of the resistance that we're hearing to reparations manifesting as anything beyond a thought or a task force, a study and another study and another study, is based on a lack of understanding, a gap in folks' education where they don't get the through line and they don't understand why we are where we are. And also, mainstream America, people that would not qualify for reparations or should not qualify, need to understand how it benefits them, because repairing the damage from our enslavement in this country is going to benefit every American, whether they get $1, a dime, or a handshake. It's going to benefit every American. And I think that's part of the conversation that we really need to have, not just in terms of stimulating the economy, which is important. All of the products and services that we will purchase, that we will have access to, businesses that will thrive in communities, providing jobs, opportunities, goods and services. Not just that, but also the ability of our nation to actually move on. As some white folks like to say, that was a long time ago. I had nothing to do with it. You have a chip on your shoulder. Just move on. If you make me whole, then I can heal and move on. If we make me whole, because I know it ain't going to happen without us doing it, like Frederick Douglass always said, power concedes nothing without a fight. And we're out here fighting. So let's figure out where the pressure points are, what's working, and how we can be part of moving the ball, changing the narrative, literally, being the lines historian, creating the talking points that can turn public perception and even our own understanding to where we don't think of this as some kind of get over or some kind of trickery, but understand and embrace that this is a debt, as Randall Robinson said, a debt that is owed to Black America, and until it is paid, we will not give up. 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima. Love to hear from you on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
November is National Runaway Prevention and Homeless Youth Awareness Month, and the Sanctuary of Hope is shining a light on the situations that cause youth to run away or face a housing crisis. In LA County, nearly 3,000 youth are homeless on the streets each night. All month long, the Sanctuary of Hope will lead activities throughout LA County to inform and mobilize calls for action, and you can help. For more info, go to www.thesoh.org. That's www.thesoh.org.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
She's so smooth. So I'm interrupting my own shower to remind you to treat your skin like the queen she is with Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, packed with Olay's highest level of vitamin B3 complex. It's so moisturizing that it will give you visibly smoother, head-turning skin in just 14 days. People wondering, how'd she get so smooth? Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash. Also, try Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
All right, so we've been talking about our health. We've been talking about our reparations. We've been talking about what's going on with our government, Gaza. So time for a little palate refresher here. The first black woman to get the Country Music Awards Song of the Year is Tracy Chapman. She had a hit back in 1988. It was a huge hit. People still play it, called Fast Car. And Luke Combs, who's a country music superstar, covered that song. He recorded it again. And so in a groundbreaking bit of history making, the Country Music Award, the Country Music Association Awards in Nashville last week awarded Tracy Chapman a Black Woman Song of the Year for that song. And it's so interesting when you hear him, Luke Combs, who I'm not so familiar with because I'm not a big country music consumer. When you hear him singing it, it sounds a lot like Tracy Chapman singing it. It just really reminded me about conversations we've had on this show regarding the roots of country music, the black fiddlers, and all of the African American or Negro, FBA, Doba, whatever you want to call them, the black roots of country music in this country. That's amazing. It's great for her because she's going to get, money. She is getting money from her song becoming this huge country music hit. But for those of us who don't really track that genre, it's important. Remember, we had a conversation on this show with a woman named Rhiannon Giddens. If you missed it, you can find it wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in, KBLA 1580, Rhiannon Giddens, or Dominique DiPrima podcast. You can also get it on the app, which hopefully you already have on your phone. In fact, when you're hanging out Thanksgiving or whatever, Xmas, Kwanzaa, and you see someone whose phone doesn't have KBLA 1580 app on it, would you do us a favor and help them download it so they can listen wherever they are. Anyway, Rhiannon is a modern artist who really digs deep into the roots of country music, and that's what this award for Tracy Chapman reminded me of. It is it was really interesting when I was preparing for the show with Rhiannon. I started listening to some of the black fiddling tradition that she was talking about, and it really moved me, and I could hear, and I'm not a music expert, but I could hear the crossover between blues, country music, and those traditions and how they're sort of buried inside today's country music. So that was amazing. She had that award. She's making that money, and she's not short on awards. She already has 4 Grammys. But this kind of recognition, I think, is good for not just Tracy Chapman, but the industry as a whole. And speaking of our arguments and conversations about history and reparation, well, Denzel Washington's getting ready to play Hannibal. Tell you about that and more when we come forward. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and this is KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Discover, this is Danny.
Hi, it's Jen Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great, but with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Are you hungry? 'Cause everyone left after the asparagus sorbet.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
This week at Target, you'll find different early Black Friday deals. Get fun deals on the latest tech, toys, and video games. Plus smart deals on small appliances, floor care, and so much more. At Target, you'll discover different early Black Friday deals each week. And get what you need for the holidays fast with free drive up or score free shipping when you spend $35 or use your red card at Target.com. Get low prices and early Black Friday deals only at Target. Exclusions apply.
Thinking about hosting a podcast and don't know where to start? Morris Media Studios has you covered. We're a professional podcast and voiceover studio located in Leimert Park. We specialize in recording and live streaming audio and video podcasts. Let us help you set up, record, and distribute your podcast. Hosting a podcast is a great way to bring awareness to your business, product, or good cause. For more info, visit morrismediastudios.com or give us a call at 323-815-4204.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot going on in here. And looking forward to talking with comedian Ray Grady next hour. He's here in studio. In fact, if you're on YouTube right now, you probably see him sitting down because he's not late. He's on time. I love that. But actually, I don't know if maybe you can talk now if you want to, Mr. Grady. I'll give you a better intro next hour. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
I just couldn't hear myself. That's all.
Oh, okay. That's because I haven't turned up your headphones. Let me see. Hopefully, I didn't turn them too loud. How's that?
Let's see.
No?
There
Still
we go.
Nothing?
There we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I was just going to talk about Denzel Washington.
Come on.
Because he's going to be playing Hannibal in a film directed by Antoine Fuqua.
Yeah.
And we've been arguing on this show. We do something now called Freedman Fridays, where we talk about reparations every Friday
Come on.
in the 7 o'clock hour. And it's dredging up all this controversy about history.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's this attorney who's also an historian named LeGrand Clegg, who has a theory that the reason white people hate black people so much is because of Hannibal and because of his conquests of Europe and their sort of DNA memory of being subjugated by a black man. So I don't know. I wonder if this this film is going to stir up all that. He was the one that came and invaded on an elephant.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him. I mean, but it's no different than when they did the same thing with Toussaint, Haiti.
Toussaint Louverture,
You know what I'm saying? So
and Haiti's still paying.
Haiti's still paying.
Yeah.
Nobody goes and aid them. You know what I mean? Real aid, not just like.
Right. We pretend we're going to help them and then we give them smallpox.
Right, yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Well, I think it'll be interesting. He ruled Southern Italy for 15 years.
Yes, he did.
And, of course, my mom's from Southern Italy, so we wonder, I could have Hannibal's blood in my veins.
There you go. Take over.
Just thought about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I remember, the controversy around, I don't know if you've seen Jada, not on that topic of Jada, but Jada Pinkett Smith has this series called The African Queens. And one in the series on Cleopatra actually prompted the Egyptian government to protest because they were angry that Cleopatra was portrayed as black.
Okay, they was mad at
They
the
were
truth.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
They was mad at the truth.
I mean, because they're saying historians say she might not have been black. She could have been black.
Right.
But the odds are
she
was black.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're angry.
Right. Normal. Is it their that's what they do. They get mad at the truth. Right?
Yeah. I guess that's right. That's like Florida black history.
Yeah.
Right?
They know. They know.
So you believe these folks are not, it's not that they think we're lying or that we're exaggerating the impact of black people in world history. You think they know and they just don't want to hear it.
There you go. Because of that hurts. That really hurts. That blanket of mistreatment and free labor. And then when you figure out that those people were, they were savages, true savages, real
As
treachery.
in the founders of civilization.
There you go. Come on.
The first doctor, Imhotep.
Right. Come on.
Yeah.
So it's, it hurt, man. It just, they don't like it. They just don't like it. And so we emulate that now.
I mean, it's just like my old teacher, Dr. Richard King, may rest in peace, he used to say, it's all about your relationship to your blackness, because technically we're all descendants of Mother Africa. So just come on and claim it. Don't be bad.
No.
Don't be bad.
And nobody wants to, no one wants to really root for the quote, the loser, right? We're the lesser, right? Nobody wants to, you know what I mean?
Okay, I'm going to give comedian Ray Grady a proper introduction when we come forward. We're going to talk about what he came here to talk about. Yeah. But since he came on time, he got penalized by having to talk about Hannibal with
It's
me.
okay with me. It's people.
You just roll with it.
Yeah, I'm not a diva.
That.
You know me.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah,
not at all. All right, continuing the conversation. Really looking forward to talking with Ray Grady, as always, on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Gaza City officials say hospitals are effectively inoperable as the